Morning, Cheryl.
Good morning.
Hello, Davis. Good morning.
So I have to tell you, I did go for my hike and walk, and I used all the things that John told us to do.
Was it effective?
And I did it in, so I did 8 kilometers in 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Wow, that's good. Good
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Louie's going to show us some walking poles today as well, so that'll be good. It'll be a good continuation of that. That's awesome. Wow, the weather's really nice now, hey? Sun's out. Spring has sprung.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just be back 1 minute.
Do you still have snow?
No, there's sunshine this morning.
That's good. I would show you. I would show you all the things that I saw, but I can't, so I shan't.
I wonder why. I actually fixed the settings already. I don't know why you guys can't share your video.
Yeah, I don't see anything for video.
I know. So sorry about that. I will definitely email them because I already checked all the settings and I promise I enabled everything, but I'm not sure why.
Also, you know,
so we
I didn't have to put in a password.
Was that again, Cheryl?
I did not have to put in a password.
Today you just click the link?
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't have to either. And yesterday, Tuesday, same thing.
Same
I
thing.
did not have to use a password.
I'll check our settings again to make sure everything is okay. We'll wait a couple of minutes and we'll see how it goes.
Well, we can see you.
Yeah, you can see me. Yeah, I can see them too. But I wanted to see like you guys. I want to see all the audience. I'm not sure why, because I did enable everything for the video so that we can do an interactive, so we can see familiar faces.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You haven't seen me for 2 years.
For a long time now, Cheryl, but the name is very familiar. That's why I'm wondering why it won't.
Turn them all the way this way to the right. Okay. Hey, Bill, how are we doing? How are we doing for time? Oh.
1 minute. But I need your volume. Can you please crank it up a little bit?
Volume up, okay. Is there a volume setting on these?
Maybe because your mask is blocking.
No, Bill?
It's not that great.
That'd be great. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my mic? Is my mic okay? Maybe I got to get my mic lower.
Let me check.
Put the mic underneath the mask.
Oh, hey, good point. Good job.
Thanks, Sarah.
The volume was low, sorry. Is that better?
Is that good?
That's good.
Can you hear me now?
Better.
Yeah, it's right up against my mouth. It's not
Yeah,
scratchy
I also
though.
turned the volume up here.
Okay. Wanna? Yeah, we're trying there.
How does that work for me, Val?
Good.
We're both okay?
Yeah.
You can hear it.
You notice he has a really good face for radio?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, guys. I think we can start now. It's 11:06 on my watch here, so we can
Yeah, go
finish
through
that
your.
time.
You're going.
The usual housekeeping. Welcome back, everyone, again. I do have a couple of reminders. Unfortunately, our video settings is still not fixed. They're not able, Blair, to enable their video.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna check on with Zoom later on after this workshop. And again, when you're posting a question on our chat box, and if I don't get to read it, you can like chirp later. Your mics are on. I enable them. And then make sure that in the chat box, make sure that it's set to all panelists or everyone so everyone can read it. And then, yeah, so today is a happy Thursday. We have Louis once again from Fitter First. And for new people just joining us right now, I would like to let you know that our guest speaker for today, Louis, is the youngest of 7 kids, and he started Fitter First in Calgary in 1985 after a knee and double foot operations on a 3,000 loan from his single mother. After placing pro fitters in all 1988 Winter Olympic training venues without permission, Louis gained worldwide TV exposure for the company. Louis raced on the national speed skiing team from 1991 to 1995 and reached a top speed of 205.56 kph. In 2016, he won EY Entrepreneur of the Year award for Prairie Provinces. Again, let us all welcome Louis Stack. You have and I do have my very own Blair Schachterle, the founder of Nose Creek Sports Physiotherapy 19 years ago and has been a physiotherapist for 28 years. He's passionate about keeping people moving to stay healthy and as they start to age. Um, and I would like to remind everyone the best question asked for today will be given a special prize. Okay, and I'm giving the floor now to our guest speakers.
Bill, can you guys hear me clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super. If my audio goes, don't be afraid to interrupt me because I can talk louder or I can adjust my mic
I will chirp.
to do that. This is a kind of a casual environment here. We're not trying to do like a big conference presentation. We're just keeping it simple.
It's okay. Not just see your smile, but voice is okay.
Right, yeah, there's a smile underneath this mask. We're wearing masks today just to adhere to all the health restrictions and warnings. I thought that was really good. Last week we were kind of taking a chance, but this week we're not. All right, so just to make sure everyone knows how to use your chat box, here's our first icebreaker question. Just type in yes or no. Is anybody in the group suffering from what I call quarantine 15? So have you gained 15 pounds since the social isolation? Just say yes or no. Good.
A lot of no's. I'm the only one who said yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That shows that you guys are staying active, which is really important. And one of the attendants had already told us this morning that she did the interval walking that John went over with on Tuesday and had a great little workout. So that's great. And I had another patient actually that told me the other day that he did that as well. So we'll get Louis to talk a little bit about the polls as well. It definitely can increase your cardiovascular output, which is really important as well when we're walking. So this is like sitting disease 2.0. So we're doing kind of a part 2 to our presentation from last week. Bill, how many people are new to the presentation this week? Is most of the people here today, were they here last week?
Yep.
Okay, good. So that's great. So I won't have to go back and explain too much. So I just want to quickly review. So in layman's terms, sitting disease basically is when your body starts to break down due to a lack of mobility or lack of movement, period. And it affects all the systems within our body. And so today, I'm going to take some time to actually go through and just sort of pinpoint and show you some highlights in regards to what are some of the anatomical changes. So what's happening in our body when we're not moving, okay? So the first thing is that sitting causes your fat cells basically to grow or proliferate at twice the rate than if you were standing, okay? So even more motivation to stand more during the day. And what's really interesting is it done some research that when you sit or lie on a fat cell, it produces what we call triglycerides. And triglycerides are the bad fat, basically, that cause strokes and heart attacks. So we really want to get rid of those fats in our body if we can, or reduce the amount of those within our body. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing we can talk about from a system point of view is blood sugar, okay? So there's a PhD doctor down in the United States from the University of Missouri, and John basically said that people that lead a sedentary life have a 50% blood sugar spike increase after each meal, okay? So we know that post-meal spikes in insulin put people at a higher risk for type 2 diabetes. And without getting too technical, there's two types of diabetes. There's type 1, and that's congenital. So you get that when you're born, you have that your whole life. So you're dependent on insulin supplements the rest of your life. If you're type 2, then what happens is you're basically getting that kind of in midlife. So usually people get this sort of in their 30s or 40s, and then they become dependent on insulin. But that's one of the risk factors. So we want to stay active so we don't have to become dependent on any supplemental insulin. Now here's one of my favorite body parts, our brain. So the brain function changes as well. So Eric, or Dr. Eric basically, from the University of Pittsburgh, found that when we're not as active, our brain slows down. And so he's the one that coined the phrase brain fog. So brain fog, we all experience, I'm sure you've had it, I'll just kind of describe it to you. It's about 3 in the afternoon, you've been working at your desk, you're focused on a project, you've been sitting for a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, time's just flying by, you don't even know it's 3 o'clock, and all of a sudden you feel like your brain isn't working as fast as it normally does. Well, what's happening is we're not getting as much blood flow into your brain. So Dr. Erickson did a bunch of studies to prove that you can actually recharge your brain simply by getting up and doing brisk walking, okay? And so what's happening is we're getting blood flowing throughout our body as we're doing a brisk walk, and that's increasing the blood flow to our brain. And if we're increasing blood flow to our brain, we're bringing fresh oxygen through our brain, we're bringing more nutrients into our brain, and it's like it kicks the brain into high gear. So if you make the analogy of a car engine, when you're in gear 1, things are really slow. It's like you're resetting it back up to gear 5. You can think faster, you can be more productive. So that's the value of having those intermittent breaks throughout the day. You can avoid the brain fog by taking those little walking breaks during the day. So breathing, so our big lungs, very important function in our day-to-day life. Sedentary women are at a higher risk for blood clots within their lungs than men are. We'll often, from prolonged sitting, get that tired back and that tired neck from static sitting in an old-fashioned chair. We'll run into more digestive issues. So I don't know about you guys, but on days when I'm active, I have no digestive issues. If I don't work out for a couple of days and I'm just really busy with a project and I'm sitting a lot, you'll notice you don't digest as well. And that's a normal process. So being active helps digestion. Eye strain, so another body part. If you're focused at one spot for a prolonged period of time, it creates a strain on your eye. You can imagine your biceps and trying to hold the weight at 90 degrees for a long time. Sooner or later, your biceps will start to bark at you and say, wow, I'm getting tired. Same thing happens with the eyes. So that's the importance of taking a break from your screen, doing a quick walk, refreshing your body, and looking at a distance instead of a short time to get those muscles in your eyes moving as well. Back and joint pain. Well, shoot, we all deal with this, back and joint pain on a daily basis at work. The big thing about the backs and sitting, I just want to touch base with you guys, is that if we looked at you laying down in a bed, that's 100% of your body weight. If you look at you standing up, that's 200%. If we look at you sitting down in the best ergonomic posture that I'm sure Louis is going to go over with in a few minutes here, that's about 500%. If you look at our body when we slouch in a vehicle and on couches, that's like 900% compression loading going through your low back. So if you are getting low back pain, in the office, we're always telling people, try to reduce your sitting time if you can. Because sitting is putting extra load on those ligaments in your back. And especially if you slouch, because you turn off your abdomen. So now you're pushing on those ligaments. There's no active sort of process going on to help hold your spine up. And then we talked last time a little bit about the strain on joints. You know, we talked about if you're sitting and we're in this sloped posture, what we're going to get is we're going to get lengthening of the anterior chain of our neck, tightening of the back of the neck. We're going to get tightening through the chest and our big lat muscles that give us that rounded shoulder posture. We're going to get super weak between our shoulder blades. And I can see Belle straightening up here as I'm describing this. So that's why we don't like this posture for the back, because it's going to create all sorts of muscle imbalances. So we want to be in that nice posture, like Louis said, you know, eyes and ears and elbows lining up, okay? And if you look at the lower quadrant too, like when we're sitting, again, if we're actively sitting on one of Louis' chairs, things are happening. We're working muscles, we're actively burning calories. As soon as you get into a static chair, well, guess what? You kind of tilt back and you slouch. Well, what happens? Your abdominals are now turned off. You're getting mushy abdominals, and we're causing all sorts of kind of secondary changes, like tight hip flexors. Our spine becomes inflexible because it's not moving. We're not getting the nutrition to the disc, and that's why we treat a ton of weekend warriors where they're sitting at a desk 5 days a week, and then on the weekend they decide it's time to go do the yard work, the gardening, play with the kids, and that's when they usually hurt themselves on the weekend because their spine is no longer used to doing stuff like that, okay? We can also run into circulatory issues if we're not moving. Venous return starts to become an issue. People get deep vein thrombosis if they're not moving during the day. And then soft bones. If we're not stimulating our bones, we're mechanically not putting pressure on them, they're not growing. Bone tissue is really active. The growth plates will close for females at 20, for males at 22. So after the growth plates are closed, that means we vertically don't grow anymore, but they're still changing dynamically all the time. And if you've had a major injury like Louis has, and you have a surgery, then there's lots of bony activity going on during that whole recovery process. If anyone's had a major surgery, or bony surgery that is. So heart disease. This is obviously a very important part of our life. You know, our heart starts beating when we're,
That was to remind you to stand on it.
Thank you. All right, that's much better. So I'm back on my active office board. I think I'm gonna take one of these home pretty quick here. So this feels much better. Thank you, Louis. So the heart, it starts beating in a fetus. It beats our whole life until we die. It's an amazing organ, actually, when you really think about it. And so our skeletal muscles, that was the theme from last time, can actually save our heart, our brain, and our major organs. How does it happen? That favorite protein that I have, that lipoprotein, lipase, basically, is the enzyme that takes fat out of our bloodstream and burns it up like gasoline in an engine. So if you're active and you're moving and you're doing stuff, your levels of that enzyme go up. If you're not active, it goes down. So inactive people are going to have a higher risk of that fat being laid down our arteries in our brain, our heart, and our major organs. So being active reduces any sort of fat buildup within our major organs. So what I want to do now is I want you guys to get into your chat box, and I'm going to ask you, we talked about the top 10 ways last time to reduce your chance of sitting disease. So I want everybody to put in one or two of those ways to reduce the risk of sitting disease, okay? And then Belle's going to read them off as they come in. All right, Belle? Because I can't see them here, so I'll just let you read them. Can you read them, Belle? Let's see if anybody remembers from last week.
So no answers yet?
I'm trying. I'm trying to write.
There you go.
Okay.
Or if you guys could just speak.
So from Melissa, take breaks occasionally and get up and walk around.
Perfect.
From Davis, get up and walk around every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
I'm gonna say don't slouch backwards or forwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit straight.
Sure. Yeah. Have an active posture, not sort of slouch posture. All right. So I'll just quickly review those just to refresh your memory. So again, in an office environment or at home, if you're printing documents off, print them off and send them down the hallway to a different printer if you can, just so it forces you to get up out of your desk. If you're sitting, again, set a chime on your watch or your phone or your computer to get you out of your desk once an hour. And if you walk for 5 minutes, that activates that enzyme that we talked about. Always take the stairs instead of the elevator if you're in buildings. And then try to get into a standing desk. Talk to Louis, he's got some amazing products here. And then use a sit ball or a sit disc. And he's gonna go through some of those options today for you as well. And then basically do stretching throughout the day. So if you do go for those walks, make sure you're engaging with those stretches we talked about the other day. Take a walk at lunchtime if you can. Use the restroom farthest away from you rather than the one right beside you. Stand while you're talking on the phone as well. And then the last one is to do your active office stretches, okay? So again, their overall goal is we need to reduce our sedentary time. We need to keep our body moving throughout the day. And again, the conclusion, I'll just kind of say it again, is that we need to reintroduce a dose of activity into our lives, and don't think of that as an inconvenience, but a few steps to better health and a longer, healthier life, okay? So now, next burning question for me is, who did their active office stretches this week? So say either, you can say yes or no in the chat box. I hope we're getting some yeses, Bella. Are we getting some yeses?
Yes, yes.
Hey, there we go. Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions about how to do those? Or are they good? Okay, go ahead. Just, you can talk to me if you want.
I was wondering about isometrics.
Okay.
If I'm sitting at a desk, is that a good thing to do?
Yeah, you could do isometrics to get muscles contracting and relaxing.
Yeah.
We used that example last week for guys that are driving for a long distance. And it's
Right.
funny, I actually played around with that myself a little bit as I was driving up and down Deerfoot. And after you said that, I thought, this actually feels really good. Like if you've got your hands on the steering wheel, you can actually flex your pecs and your biceps, and you can kind of pull back and do your scapular retractors, your triceps. So you can get a little bit of a workout doing that if you are forced to stay in a prolonged posture and you can't sort of get out of the vehicle. So I thought that was a great example. So yes, that would definitely help activate those muscles and activate that enzyme. Good. All right, so I won't give the demonstration. It sounds like everyone's comfortable with those 4 stretches. And then I just want to make one more comment before I hand the floor over to Louis. And then people talk about, poor posture, versus, good posture. We talk in the clinic often about soldier posture. I actually treated a British military soldier, and he taught me that they would train him to say stomach in, chest out. And then basically they could never look anyone in the eyes. They had to look up, but their neck had to touch the back of their collar. So that's the people would go around and touch their neck, say straighten up, So, you can't stay in that posture, that military posture like this all day long. So what we often tell patients in the clinic is they come in kind of down here. We say, we're going to rehab you up here, and your body's going to find a natural happy medium sort of between those two. But the key is not sustained postures, it's intermittent movement, which is what Louis is all about here too. We got to keep the body moving, in and out of those postures. So if you do happen to slouch over something, or you're really focusing on a document, or you're working on something, or calculating something, it's okay to be in that posture for a little while, but just make sure you move back out of that posture and reset your posture if you can throughout the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so.
Recalibrating.
Yes.
Recalibrate, right?
Yeah.
Then you always start back at neutral when you recalibrate something. You go back to 0, or do the car on a scale where you go back to the best posture, and then one of the tricks I learned, I think it's Paul Check, but hitchhiking. But if you're doing something and you're not sure where to recalibrate, the concept of tipping the hitchhiking. So often people do this, right? They have the problem with the shoulders roll forward, the hands tip in, and the idea of just really, I used to hitchhike skiing a lot.
Yeah, oh, okay.
But if you tip your thumbs back, it opens the chest up and puts the shoulders back, right? I really like the tip about the collar. On that note, I should straighten the collar, see?
That's right, there you go. Because that really brings your neck back.
But some of these little clues, if you're just sort of standing there, you're not sure what to do. If you do, I love the collar idea, I've never heard that. And roll your thumbs back and close your shoulders back, and it helps you recalibrate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Things a person can do. If you're not sure what to do next, just exactly put your head on your shoulders and roll your thumbs back. And you might get a free ride somewhere, but don't jump in the car with strangers.
There you go. Awesome.
So you wanted to touch on some of the ideas of sitting, right? Sitting.
Yeah.
So there's certainly different professions. We talk about driving, which is certainly a difficult one.
Yeah.
You have to stop and get up and move and get out of the vehicle, and that needs to be done safely, of course. I do know people in accounting and other professions, the airline people in airline safety for doing the flight towers. They are a very particular environment. Yeah. So what I'll cover just briefly, there's different types of active sitting products. Okay. The sit discs were the first ones that we became aware of. Right. They were used to simulate a ball, and I'll show you an example. I wanted to see the packaging. They go on your existing chair. They're very popular in schools. They'll often take a normal chair and allow a smaller person to get too high for the chair, which is a problem. Okay. And a larger kid can use it, and it gets the chair better for them. Basic concept was fundamentally, when we're sitting, we're trying to get the hips slightly above the knees. So from a postural perspective, if the hips are too low and the knees are too high, it's very hard to get the alignment of the spine proper, because you're folded too much at the waist. You want the opening of the hip to be comfortable with the body. If it's too much. So what happens to people, if the chair is not adjustable, these non-adjustable sitting cushions can get the person too high for their chair. Okay. For me, right now on this chair, that's ergonomically pretty good. Yeah. Really. Okay. Well, this chair goes up and down, of course, right now. Yeah. But anyways, now I'm getting a little bit too low. I don't know if you can see me exactly, but you know, it's not too bad. This is a fairly high chair, but for a small person, they would be almost falling off the chair. Right. So the disadvantage of these is they're not easily adjustable. You have to use volleyball, a needle, or basketball needle to change it, but that's called a sit fit. Okay. A little more flexible option. We touched briefly last week. Yeah. Our own product, they're called proactive discs. They can be deflated and rolled up. They can be orally inflated to like a yoga pillow. Okay. And you can sit on them. You can use them driving because you can change the air in them by opening the valve, like the thermarest. Yes. So these are more, we say they're more personal product. I wouldn't put them in schools because kids with pens will damage them. But this material is very soft. It can be used like a pillow. Awesome for flying. You can roll them up quite small. Put them in a briefcase or in your purse or in your sleeve while you're in the plane and you just throw it in the seat. You can also use it as back support. So those are very versatile. All these things are like $40 roughly range. This is our own product.
What was that one called?
Sorry?
I'm sorry, I missed the name of that one.
Proactive disc.
Okay, I want one.
There you go. And they're square or round. The back joint, this is another product that was designed by a chiropractor in Colorado. One of his patients happened to be Mike Margopoulos, his wife. And why that matters is Mike Margopoulos is a very thankful man who sold 100 million pairs of shoes. Some of you may have his shoes called Crocs in your closet. Notice the style of the product looks a lot like Croc shoes. The original one was cloth, and he helped the chiropractor bring it to market and said, it's a wonderful product, but I'm going to make it to help keep. It was first called, it was a rehab product. He said, if I'm going to make it, it's going to be the material I know. I'm going to call it Back Joy to keep people healthy, not to help broken people be out of pain, but to have healthy people stay that way. This works when you sit in it. I want to show you this. You scooch right back, so your pelvic girdle is tipped forward, but notice how it pivots and rotates. Because I'm sitting with this in my pocket, it's a little bit hard to show you on the ground, but I sit in airports on this on the ground, cross-legged. If you can tip the camera just a bit forward, I do want to show you. Okay. I know we're having a hard time. I didn't get the screen setting right, but you can use this on any chair.
Is that good, Bill? Can you see Louis on the?
So when I sit on the chair, it tips my pelvic girdle more forward. But what's really awesome about it is if I sit on the ground, it's kind of hard and you're sitting on the sit bones and it's uncomfortable. But with this, I can sit on a hard ground, pivot my body even with my bum knee, and sit cross-legged and look at my lower back is pretty straight. I'm not very flexible, but and see how I can pivot on it? I kind of have boots of steel with this.
Buns of steel. That's good.
See how I can pivot on it. You could without this sitting on the ground. It's pretty uncomfortable and I tend to slouch a lot more. So this can be used in a car, even though you sit tilted way back and uncomfortable. Instead of trying to shove a lumbar system here, this addresses the source, not the symptom. Big fan of the back joint. And also for sporting events, maybe you can tip that back up again.
Sure.
Sporting events where you're sitting on a hard bleachers, volleyball or football or whatever, you know, it's awesome for that because now all of a sudden you've got a comfortable zone to sit for your sit bones. The muscles are kind of encapsulated. So back joy again, think about $60 out of the US. Awesome product for active sitting.
Awesome.
So then of course you want to really access standing. I will show you one more. Canadian design. It's called a cushion or spike mat. It's called Spike Technology. It goes on your existing chair or you can stand on it. You felt this one?
Yes, I was sitting in one earlier. This morning.
So it gives you, it's for near
it's a really nice feel.
People with Parkinson's and MS love them because they give you thousands, hundreds of stimulation, nerve and stimulation. So proprioceptive. You sit on your airflow and all those little villi kind of move under you. So you get a really interesting sensation. On the feet, they feel amazing. I actually carry my fly options now are these two items I fly with. I know we mentioned the proactive disc is a really good product, but these are the
Yeah.
two I take on long flights overseas.
Okay.
Although I haven't done that
Yeah.
since February.
Yeah.
But they're nice products. And when people come in, we have them all on display.
Yeah.
We encourage them to try what works for them. And
Okay.
we will be hopefully opening for by appointment only,
Yeah.
probably next week or the week after, depending what the government says.
Yeah.
But, and we also have return policies. We want people to be happy. I know there's a lot of choices.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit tricky, but
Yeah.
staying active when you're sitting, getting up, we like to recommend every 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Based on sitting hills and moving heels. That's Joan Bernakis' book, available at www.fetterone.com. Awesome book, as is Design to Move. And yeah, we've been really advocates about moving every half an hour and standing up and recalibrating for 1 minute every 30 minutes is really a really great baseline. And we have this, our active office board comes with a little squeezy 5 to 9 to 5. So we're big advocates of this whole active office concept, and you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Your clients and your patients understand this.
Yeah.
So what other areas did we want to talk about in this realm?
Well, that was great. So now you've got the variety of choices, you guys, that you can look at for helping you sit more active. And I know I'm going to be taking some of this stuff home as well one of these days. Now, the other thing we talked about was the walking poles. So I just wanted Louis to show you the walking poles that they have. So these are going to be your high quality walking poles that aren't going to break down, that will help you. Because we talked a little bit about walking poles the other day. So from a rehab point of view, anybody who's post-op total knee or hip replacement, we do recommend the poles. Once you get off your crutches, it's a nice transition. And as you're walking, you're going to get a bigger cardiovascular workout if you're getting your arms going. Sort of like what John was saying on Tuesday with let's get those arms pumping. By getting those arms pumping, we're creating more of a demand for oxygen and blood, and we're getting a better cardiovascular workout. From a safety point of view with the new knee, it just gives you a little bit more stability. So we really love them. And, a few years ago, there was a physio down in Toronto that actually had pole walking classes for all our post-operative hip and knee patients. I just thought that was wonderful that she was doing something like that. So I just want Louis to talk a little bit about that. And I know you're going to burn more calories too if you get those arms moving as well. So it's almost like cross-country skiing down your sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly.
When I did that couple summers ago, everyone was kind of looking at me funny the first couple of days when I was doing it because like, what is that guy doing? And then I'm just recovering.
You're bringing the whole upper body in. Like this is the group out of Vancouver that does the Nordic walking poles, but 46% more calories. Better blood sugar management and your core muscles. So you use a lot of your core muscles. And this is brochure specifically to Parkinson's, for managing diabetes better, and obviously for cardiac health and rehab. And they use them down at the Talisman Center. Well, it's now called Repsol Center.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I trained there as an athlete in '83. So
that's just sponsoring
the name changes quite a bit. So these we get out of Vancouver. They're probably not made in Vancouver, I'm pretty sure, but they're fully adjustable. This particular model has got lock pins in them. There's a little line you have to line up here, and I didn't pre-practice, but they go from 1 through to 11 inches in height. We have like 4 pairs in my garage. I use them all the time. Because I had my knee meniscus removed in 1979, I won't go hiking without them because I can't come down a mountain. Like it hurts me severely to come down a hill right now. Yeah. These have a right and a left handle. They're urban poles, and they're designed so when you do your push-off, sorry, I'll give you that one. Yeah. Because
sure.
They have a click. You just have to, because the pole base rotates, you just have to find a little spot and then get the click. There's an alignment line. I'm just not seeing it yet. Mine are slightly different. These are the newest ones. Oh, there it is. Yeah, do you see yours? I've not seen mine yet. It's separate. Just have to find the line to the hole. Yeah. There it is. Okay. You're probably going to be higher. Yeah, I'd go probably 9 or 10 or even 11. So once you understand them, they're easy. Mine is slightly different. So you're normally looking at 90 degrees. In fact, I want it sorry, one more second. Yeah. I want this all the way to 11. The reason they make them adjustable so you can get them right through your body, but also so they're easy to backpack, right? You put them on your backpack and stuff. Nice. So like skiing, basically 90 degrees. And you can change the leg. They have a couple different legs. So you're very handy.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
So these come off. So this be your urban pole walking for the city. If you're going up steep rock area, that's like your ski pole. That's rocks and ice and stuff. And then they do have little feet because if you're trying to do power walking, this is kind of a bad angle. They're like boots almost. Nice. So if you're really going to do an extension back and push, because you're really power walking, that's why there's handles here too. So you can actually and
Get the
thrust off of
extension.
it. Yeah, and that's where you're doing tricep and
Okay.
lats.
Yeah.
And then if you're going uphill, you tend to reach up and you tend not to go much past your foot.
Yeah.
So for a lot of types of walking, you'd be more forward and just staying in front of the body.
Yeah.
And then there's a different technique where you'd be doing lats and it's a speedier walking, right?
Yeah.
And it sort of depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And both are fine. It's just different techniques and it involves different muscles.
Yeah.
And if you're going up hills and down hills, it's totally different. And if you're nurturing an injury, your body's going to tell you how you're going to do it.
Exactly.
But I personally, I wouldn't go hiking anymore. My wife had both her hips done, and she used them extensively for any kind of walking.
Okay.
And I'm getting my knee done, hopefully half knee within the next 2 months.
Yeah.
I had day surgery, so they're cutting real short now.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, as soon as I'm off a walker, I'll be using these for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, these are really comfortable. If you guys haven't tried these, this handle feels so ergonomically correct. Like even just to swing my arm here, it just feels more natural. And I heard that these were designed by an occupational therapist.
Yeah, out of Vancouver. Yeah, I've met him many times.
Oh, did you? Yeah. So I mean, you can tell it's there's a lot of thought put into these. So I'd highly recommend you guys look at that if you're worried about your balance when you are walking, or if you want to increase your workout, or if you're off road and you're out in the mountains doing sort of a hike like Louis was saying. Now the burning question a lot of people often ask me, Louis, is like how high do I set the height with the elbow and the wrist? Like what's the best height?
Well, in skiing, just for the record, I point out it's 90 degrees to the elbow.
Yeah.
I believe urban polling is very close to that. It's certainly not higher than that, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
And I didn't exactly check that and say in all the catalogs, it would probably say on this card right here.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty certain that, even looking at the picture right there.
Yeah.
90 degrees, well, they're saying 75 to 90 there. That's not some engagement, but I'm almost certain you're going to be looking
around 90.
I would say, I personally, I would prefer this pole to be slightly taller for me.
Okay.
And I've used poles already a lot, and I've always gotten to that position.
Okay.
But again, you have to understand I'm a lifetime skier and ski racer, so obviously when I'm using poles, I know where I want them.
Yeah.
It's not, someone says, oh, you want to be down here, and I go, no, I don't.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's the natural place for it to be. It's going to be somewhere between approximately, what would that be, 70, 75, and 90 degrees?
Yes.
Certainly you don't want to be up there, it's just not natural.
Okay. And what's your tip for the hikers out there? I know there's a lot of people that, go to the mountains on the weekend, they go for a hike, or there's some of our viewers actually that live in BC, like going up and down hills. What would be your tip?
Shorter than going up.
Okay.
Just like skinning up and down on your skis.
Yeah.
You're going to want them shorter going up because you're going to be doing a lot of reaching.
Right.
And sometimes you're going to be pushing. And if you're finding if you're using it to push, you're going to need an aid for climbing.
Okay.
Because of possibly an injury.
Yeah.
You might need them longer. And if you're going down, you're going to top handle them.
Okay.
Again,
So you hang
I
on.
have to do that because when
Like
I'm going down,
almost.
I cannot take a load, a
On that
shearing
muscle.
load in my knee at all.
Okay.
So when I'm going down, I'm breaking like this.
So you're sharing the weight
Shearing,
to the opposite arm, like we do with the cane, basically.
Yeah. So again, each person's got to accommodate a little bit, but most likely, you certainly aren't going to. If you're going down a hill, this is like a braking system to control your descent, right? So you're going to want to and in front of you to prevent the slip behind you and you fall.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bit too late.
Okay.
The idea is to use them as a brake.
Yeah. And then for the hiking, you would take the foot off. That's correct.
If you're on slippery, gravelly surface, you take the foot off.
Yeah.
You're looking for traction.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
you keep
great.
them with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they are sharp.
Yeah. Okay. And then what are these called again, Louis?
These are urban poles. You can see the name right here.
Okay.
It's called urban poling, and they're out of Vancouver, Canada. Again, like I said, they're probably not made here in Canada. Proudly Canadian. Yeah, I'm sure. I'd love it if they were Canadian made. Boy, it'd be awesome. But designed in Canada.
Okay.
So we're working on it.
Awesome. I love this name, the Activator.
Yeah. Well,
It's
they
like a
do
rehab name. That's great.
So
So there you go, guys. Activator from Urban Pole. That's the tool you want to
We
get
do carry them here at Twitter.
for those weekend warrior hikers, especially.
And they are a good quality product. I've looked at everything out there. You can buy a number of different brands carried over the years. I worked with this one about 12 years now.
Oh, good.
We've had them for a long time. We were way too early, bought people laughed at us. And then after that, now they're trending, We tend to be very, very early.
Yeah.
We were the first ever Bosu distributor and the first ever worldwide TRX distributor.
Wow.
So
great.
we tend to arrive very
Really?
People see me sitting on the side of the road and they say, what are you doing? I say, well, when the city starts being built here, this is where the bus stop's going to be.
There you go. Louis, yeah, that's great. So my next question was, we talked a little bit in the past about kind of decompressing a little bit with all the stress of being at home so much. And you mentioned there's a nice yoga strip that people can buy as well and they can stretch out on. We in the past in rehab, we often say, hey, just stretch out on a foam roller. Right. Sometimes the foam roller is not comfortable for some spines. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between a foam roller and the yoga strip?
Hey, Allison, do you mind driving me a beam? Or a beam, just so I can stay here now?
Sure.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a homegrown story again, guys. Calgary, we're talking about supporting local. So it's called The Beam, and there's two mothers that both were injured in car accidents. So they come to patients of yours. She knows, right? Yeah. Thanks, Allison. Allison works with us here and helps run the showroom. So
thanks, Allison.
I saw these, one of our staff brought them in, and I said, well, what, really, a beam with foam? Yeah. It's a foam roller. It's square, and roll, so why not just roll on the foam roller? Yeah. And this, I think that took me a while to get through it. And then I realized the concept is to lay in total relaxation, as you can see in this picture. It's not too scientific, but the whole point is when you lay on this, it supports both aspects of the two other aspects of the vertebrae, right? This is the gentle, no, this would be the firm. Okay. Yeah, firm, and then there's a gentle. But when you lay on it, it supports the head. Yeah. And the spine is completely stabilized on it, and as is the tailbone. Yeah. On a foam roller, you cannot totally relax because it's around. Right. So you're always having to do small stabilizations. When you lay on this, you literally stay still. Nothing moves. The spine is completely isolated. It's relaxed. Yeah. And you start doing deep breathing, and you literally just do nothing. And as you lay there, you feel things starting just to turn off. Yeah. And you're supported. You have to almost feel it. And literally, they recommend 10 to 20 minutes. There's some arm movements you can do, right? To open up some of the muscles in the chest. And do patterns of movement. It's folded on this card. There's a laminated sheet over there. Yeah. But it's a simplistic method of really relaxing, and it took me a while to understand. It's exactly opposite of the foam roll, but very, very complementary. So you might roll out in your foam roll, and then lay on the beam, and almost like meditation. Yeah. And just stay there for 20 minutes. So we put it as part of our family pack. Okay. Because we have like 2 toners, physio toners, this, some spiky balls, a foot roller. You got a family of say 2 or 3 kids, and mom and dad, something that you can say, hey kids, lay down, and do nothing for 20 minutes and just relax. That's perfect. There you go. Yeah. Hey, everyone in the family can do it. And it works. The guy really does. It's a nice product to do nothing, and we finish. It's very regenerating.
Okay. That's awesome. So
I'll give you one to wait today.
Yeah, sure. We can try one out. We'll bring it up to the clinic, and we'll get Bill to lay on it and test it out. Hey, Bill.
Bill, you can get paid to do nothing.
Paid to relax. I don't know. Bill doesn't. She's usually on the move, Louis. I don't know if she'll have time to lay down.
This is work, Bill. This is work.
That's right.
Not work. This is real work.
So I love that though. I've actually laid on that because one of my friends was a yoga instructor, and she introduced me to it, and I thought this is great. So since we're sort of talking about sort of relaxing and stuff, what's your favorite massage like home product that you have in your office here? And you guys do got to come down and see this playroom. It is like an adult playroom here. I always come early so I can do balance work on all the different balance boards.
Do you mind grabbing the Jaku?
Yeah.
It's not here. It's a showroom product that happens not to be a showroom because our staff is using it.
There you go. There you go.
Is that type of thing?
Yeah, it must be helpful then.
Yeah, we carry a number of tiger tailed rollers, and we have 2 sections on our wall. We have all the rad rollers, which are the silicone balls and small rollers. And we have travel roller, which is an awesome product. Another Canadian story. I love these are all mostly stories. Thank you, Alice.
You're welcome.
Isn't she great? So Jaku is actually the gentleman's name. I met him at 2 shows in the U.S. And there's been a number of these muscle blasters come out the last 7 years. You've seen them at the APTA and NATA, National Athletic Trainers and American Physical Therapy shows. This particular one is beautiful compared to all the other ones. They're all sort of the same, and they're all like expensive, $700–800 US. This gentleman got a scholarship as a kicker for the Notre Dame football team where my daughter is at school. And then his coach got transferred to Cornell University. Cornell. So he went with the coach. He left his scholarship and went with the coach. kicked there for 4 years, met his wife, who's an industrial designer, and they fell in love with the concept. So it's a massager, which has 6 settings, most have 4. The little heads pop in and out. And just push and pull. Lasts for 6 or 7 hours. Find a sore muscle and try it.
Oh, that feels good. Yeah.
And change the speed.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's unreal. It is really, and that is up to 4,500 RPMs. Yeah. So it's amazing. If you have tight muscles, if you need to break down some adhesion in places to get it as deep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, they're not inexpensive. They're $450. We have 10% off on our website.
Okay.
But this thing it's game changing. So many therapists, chiropractors, for deep tissue massage.
Oh, that's good. There you go.
I mean, it's unreal. If you have serious muscle issues, what you can do with these is beyond belief.
Well, we've got, I think it's called the Morphan Massager in the office. We sometimes, when we're doing some manual therapy techniques, on people, especially if they're in a hurry and they don't have time for
So
heat.
that goes pretty serious speed, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it can get really tense. The difference between that is it's got a big head on it, so you kind of go up and down the person's back. But I love that because it's very specific, so you can really target a certain area.
That's up and down the outer aspects of the spine.
Nice. The tools there.
Yeah.
So it comes with a whole variety of different attachments.
And he's got a bunch of research specifically as because the guy's a young professional athlete. And he's got an entrepreneurial degree, and it's his dad and his wife and himself that are doing this. So they're actually, they're doing what we did here. So really nice product. And again, everything we sell has a satisfaction guarantee. That's just we believe in what we do product-wise. And if people have a forearm problem, specifically from overuse of the forearm, like a lot of back, people working back lows or do a lot of musicians and stuff. There's another product that we have called the Roll Flex. It's on our website. It compresses and I mean, you can do it with this too, but you can get the forearm unlike any other product. That's a very specific type of thing. If you have serious issues with the forearm, which you have it, it's game changing, right? It means you can't do your profession. So if they have that problem, that's a really cool product. It's very unique to that issue. It's sort of interrupted, but
No, that's good. Because the self-massage techniques are great. I love the fact that vibration does stimulate mechanoreceptors, and that's how you can get pain relief. Plus, the vibration is actually increasing blood flow. So, vibration. When I was starting out early, while I was still a university student, one of my big mentors said we do this Morphan massager on everybody. That's when I first met that unit. He said, Blair, modulates pain quickly. That's what people are looking for. If you do something that makes them a bit sore, you can shake it out of them really quick with this. With that vibration
I use that round foam ball. The one you tried is the softest one, foam ball. I actually use it. I had sleep apnea surgery, so I've had a lot of nerve issues around my face and nose. I gently use it around there, which is, you don't usually use a high intensity massager on your face, but it really helps manage the pain. And then Allison's a bit of a cat fanatic. I recently saw someone who's using not this brand, one like it, and their cat literally line drive into jumping. It's like, your cat might go crazy.
Your pets might love it too, right? Well, there you go. Well, that was awesome. Does anybody have any specific questions? We'll maybe open the floor, Bill, for the last couple minutes here. We are coming up on the hour. We got about 10 minutes left. So any questions about the content we covered today or any of the products that Louis just presented?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Davis.
Go back to the driving. When you're sitting and driving. I've found that in the passenger cars, I can't get a proper sitting posture because the back of the seat is always curved and it's not straight.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Yeah, at 6'3", it drives me crazy. I agree.
And it just seems over and over again. I wish the car manufacturers would fix that. When I go into a pickup truck, they have a more bench style seat arrangement, and I find it much more comfortable, much easier to have a good posture that way.
I'm with you on that. I agree
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, I personally drive a truck, and I've driven a truck forever now because of that reason. Because I can at 6'5", it's the only thing I can sit comfortably in. But my wife did we bought her a Transverse or a Traverse, it's called a Chevy Traverse recently, and actually I can sit in that pretty comfortably. The Explorer she had before, I couldn't sit comfortably in it. My knees were, again, Louis was throwing knees above the hips. I was slouched. My knee was getting sore. My hip was sore.
There's a lot of cars. That's my first thing, Dave. Is I literally, when I get in a car, I bought a Ford Explorer. It's not too bad, but it's got a lumbar support, which is always maxed out.
Yeah.
That's what I do use with this thing for when I have to rent a car. That's why I always have this.
Yeah.
I'll often have to get it up into. I try to fill that void that you're talking about to get that more straight. But like when I rent cars, which I do a lot when traveling, I literally I sit in the seat.
Yeah.
To see if I can
Mm-hmm.
have that
No,
problem.
I've tried it with different styles of cushions and so on to fill that gap in the back, and I've never found one that really works all that well.
It's a very personal thing, like all these sitting things we talk about here too. It's sort of sitting. I've had some success with the Obis Forum. They sell a tall, shaped thing that goes in the back of the car seat. I've had some success with that. They unfortunately do fall out of the car sometimes as well when you lose it. But it's a real challenge, and other than strapping something around the seat, it's a very personal thing that you have to find what works for you. And I hear you and respect what you're saying. It's an issue, but finding the solution is a bit of an experiment for each person. It's the best I can say.
Okay, thank you.
So another spot where I find myself sitting a lot is bicycling. And so I have a bicycle seat that works for me, but other people, they find that sitting on that sit bone for that long is too hard. So even if they get the cushion seat, and even if they get the spring underneath the seat, do you have something that you would suggest?
I cycle a fair bit, and there's no question there's some acclimatization issues going on there. You have to get used to it. That's one thing. You do need a really good seat that is good for you, which is hard to find. The spring seats, one of the challenges, they change the nature of the compression, and you'll see there's a reason all the hardcore cyclists don't use them. Is it's kind of like having a loose shoe on, where you tend to get almost irritation because you're moving on the seat a little bit, and sometimes that's not good. Like again, everyone's got preferences. I do know, we don't carry it, but I do know that Spike, which is SP, ironically, the number 1, KE, is the Toronto-based company I mentioned that makes this product. They do make a seat cover. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing or bad thing, but they do make a bicycle seat cover. And it's a bunch of these things. So it's kind of interesting because this does have a lot of airflow. These little things do move, and at least you're getting, movement and contact of probably maybe sitting and maybe have 100, 150 contact points. I have not tried it. Okay. So, but a gel pad seat, I've used those. I got injured. I won't get into detail, but I once got injured climbing, and then I had to go on a bike race after, and I required a gel pad on my seat. Yeah. And I found the gel pad worked pretty good because it was comfortable, but it didn't bounce around a lot. So I bought that at one of the bike stores. It was a thick gel pad I pulled over my existing bike seat, and that was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, thank you. I have one of those.
Okay, good.
Good one.
Yeah, so I guess we all discover that might be the easiest quick solution when you're trying to find something.
And then wearing those biking shorts too is probably going to help, right, with the saddle enforced part of the shorts. So if you don't have your cycling shorts, I would get some of those.
Yeah, I would. Sorry, I guess I almost that's sort of
just to add.
Yeah, cycling shorts are hugely important, and I wear those all the time.
Yeah.
I ride with Alberta Treasury Branch. They have a bike team of their employees and their clients. They sponsor us, and we ride every Tuesday and do some races, recreational races.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and so you learn to suck it up, I guess, is the answer.
Peer pressure there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're gonna. Is it any last questions before I close the question floor?
What was the stretch for the inside of the knee?
For the inside of the knee.
Yeah.
If you needed to stretch the inside of your knee, you can stand with your feet wide apart and just simply lock one knee and then bend the other one, and you'll get amazing stretch down right from your pubic area into the inside of your knee. That's what we call the long adductors. Okay, and then you can also turn this foot 90 degrees, and I call this the fencing stretch. So it's almost like you're fencing. A lot of hockey players, when they're warming up, will do this stretch with their skates on, and that really opens up the groin, and again, those long adductors. To get the short adductors, I won't demonstrate because I'll rip my pants. You basically sit your butt right up against the wall, put the soles of your feet together, and slowly pull the heels towards your groin, and sit up nice and tall like a yoga master, and just let gravity take your knees down, and that'll hit all the short adductors higher up in your adductor sort of complex. If you're getting some sort of tightness through the groin area, give those a try, Cheryl, and let us know how it goes next week.
No, it's right in the knee, so it's on the left side of the knee.
Okay, so.
Where the kneecap is.
Oh, the kneecap, okay. So if you're getting pain around your kneecap, the most common cause of patellofemoral pain, is kneecap pain, is a muscle imbalance. So what happens is we get really weak here, and we get really tight up here and through our lateral part of our thigh, and that causes this kneecap to basically shift over to the right or laterally to the outside, and that's what we call maltracking. So what that is a muscle imbalance. So there's some easy stretches that we start with, and then some specific strengthening exercises to realign that kneecap so that it's no longer rubbing on the outside of the little area where it sort of goes up and down and on your big thigh bone. We call it the femur.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
That may require a little bit of specific exercise prescription to sort of help you along with that. And it's a type of thing.
Extension? Like, would you do a leg extension to help that?
Well, only the end range. Great question, Lee, because a lot of people that do open chain quads actually aggravate their kneecap pain. So we usually advocate, if you're going to do that, just do the last sort of 20 degrees. So if you're really focusing on your VMO, but ideally, the best exercise is what we call a 1/3 squat. We call it drop squat, which is defined as you go down to your kneecaps, cover your feet or your toes, the middle kneecap tracks over the second toe, and your butt is sort of like halfway into the chair. That's the perfect angle to really get this VMO working, but not to overload the kneecap. Because if you do a full squat, like a back catcher when he sits there and he's ready to catch the ball, there's 9 times his body weight shearing the posterior cruciate ligament in the knee. So there's a lot of weight in the fully squatted position. And we know that would likely overload that kneecap and give you more kneecap pain. So that's why we do the drop 1/3 squat. So that's something we'd have to jump on a virtual sort of treatment, Cheryl, and sort of go through the scenario of what we need to do and get you going on some exercise prescription for that, because that's all it is. Within 3 weeks, your kneecap pain usually gets better. Within 3 months, it's fixed. I always tell patients it's a 3-month process. You have to commit to the sort of the rehab process. All right, so great question. We're running out of time here, so just going to tie it up for today. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I just want to give you a sneak peek for next week so you guys don't miss out next week. It's going to jump back on my AOB board. So if you have any golfers in your family, tell them to come to the next week, because we're going to talk about golf-specific exercises. We're also going to talk about plantar fasciitis, which is one of my sort of passions. It's the most common foot injury treat. It's like 26% of people that come into foot pain have heel pain. Louis got some great products as well here that basically help plantar fasciitis that you can be doing on a daily basis at home for stretching out that plantar fascia and the posterior chain of your sort of foot and lower leg. So stay tuned for that. And again, I'd just like to thank you for coming. And if you're having any problems, again, there's 3 ways to get a hold of us. You can jump on the website, download the body part you're having problems with, learn a little bit more, talk to Belle, and basically do a discovery session online. We have virtual free discovery sessions online where we get to meet face-to-face and have a chat, set some goals, figure out what your problem is and if we can help you. Or if you want to, do a full evaluation, you can just book that. And that can be virtual if you're out of town, or in-house if you want to come down to the clinic. And we've set up all our health sort of requirements to make sure that we're all safe. And we're quite happy to see you there. And then for Louis, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Louis?
I like to say that I could download. I actually downloaded half of my knee.
Yeah. Sure. There you go. Yeah.
It's been 35 years my knee lasted after surgery, so I'm pretty happy that it lasted. To get a hold of us, it's www.fitter1.com, corner of Blackwood Trail and Aldridge Road, and our toll-free number is 1-800-FITTER1. Ironic to see a trend, FITTER1, and the name is Fitter First is our brand name. We've been here for 35 years and in Calgary that long. I'm born and raised in this town, as
Yeah.
Belle said. So thank you, Belle, for taking care of us.
Yeah, thanks,
And
Bill.
thank you folks for joining us. And we're just a local company trying to help people leading the world with better balance. And we believe that balance is the essence of movement and movement is the essence of life. So, you know,
There you go.
good ideas to help us all age gracefully and
Yeah.
keep on moving.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, you guys. One last thing in the chat box, if you can, let's rate our presentation today. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst experience you've ever had, and 10 being the most awesome experience you've had with the workshop, just let us know and give us some feedback too. We're always looking for feedback. Last week we didn't finish quite on time. Today we're going to finish on time.
Exactly.
We've had some issues with the IT sort of end, but Bella's working hard on those, and we hope that we can every week make this better. So I'll leave you with that, and I really want to thank you for joining, and make it a great week, and get out in that sun, and let's get walking, and stay active and healthy, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.